Welcome to today's journey. For this video, I wanted to share my financial journey or milestones that I have made from the age of 20 all the way to 30. Make sure to stay to the end because I'm going to give you a tip that has started this whole financial journey for me. When I was 18, I did decide to go to college, but I just went to a community college and then I was going to decide what to do from there. I did 2 years of community college and then I decided that I wanted to be an X-ray tech. So I did 2 more years of school for an associate's degree. I can definitely say that this was a good idea starting out at a community college to just get my general ed credits. I was also working part-time at the same time. By the time that I was 20, I was in college. I was living at home. My parents said, as long as you're going to school, you can just stay here. Since I was working part-time, any money that I made would go towards eating out or shopping. I didn't really have a future goal for my money in any sort of way. I also didn't know how much my student loans were at all at the time. When you're 18, you just kind of sign the line and say, I'm gonna take out these loans, and then later on you find out how much you actually are gonna owe. 2 years later, once I turned 22, I did graduate from college. At this point, I was living on my own. I had an apartment, and I decided to finance my first car. I was definitely in that mindset that, hey, I'm making more money now. I can kind of bump up my lifestyle a little bit. I think they call it financial creep. Say that you get like a raise at work, then you're like, oh, hey, no, I can just go ahead and buy this new car and get a loan that I really can't afford. And I got a reasonable price car. My loan wasn't crazy or anything like that, but I did have a car loan. At this point, I was about $30,000 in debt from my car and my student loans. I was still spending my money on just eating out, shopping. And now that I was 22, I was also spending money on weekends out, like drinking alcohol. I did get my first X-ray job at 22, so I did start investing casually at like 5%, I think, in my employer 401k match. I really didn't even know what that meant to get a 401k match. Looking back on it, I wish that I had invested more than just 5-6%, but you learn and you grow. At 22 years old, I was definitely still not financially literate. Now we're gonna jump to 2 years later. So I was 24 at this point. I was still around $30,000 in debt. I discovered I don't have to live in debt and I can save and invest my money and make my money work for me. This is where I learned about Dave Ramsey, his whole way of using money wisely. At the same time, I also learned more about credit cards. And if you know anything about Dave Ramsey, he's totally against credit cards. He says don't use them. But if you use credit cards wisely, you have many perks. I learned about Dave Ramsey and I got a credit card in the same year. I also learned about minimalism. And I will say that minimalism and frugality go hand in hand when it comes to me. I have definitely saved a lot of money over the years becoming more minimal. So this is where I got really intentional and started using the debt snowball, which again, a Dave Ramsey term. You take your smallest debt that you have, pay that off first, and then you climb up towards your biggest debt and it kind of snowballs. I like this method a lot because it showed me like once I paid off that first debt, which was my car loan, I was like, oh my God, this is my car now. It's paid off, I have the title and everything. And then it made me feel like a burst of energy to go ahead and just pay off the rest of my student loans. So the next year, by age 25, I was fully debt-free. I paid off the last of my student loans and I have been debt-free since. I definitely got very intentional with minimalism and frugality. I stopped shopping so much. I didn't go out to drink as much. I started cooking way more meals at home. I started building up a savings account. I decluttered my home. I sold things. I stopped buying things I didn't need. I started living my life more intentionally and spending my money on experiences instead of things, like traveling or trying new workout classes. I got really into doing hot yoga, and those classes can get expensive, but it's worth it to spend my money on that type of thing instead of something like clothing. Now I am 30 years old and I am still debt-free. Through being more frugal and minimal, I started saving up a lot of money in my savings account. Though I have a high yield savings account where I get like 3.8 to 4% interest, it's just still not enough. I want my money to be working for me. I started to invest most of my money. Of course, I like to travel, so I save a little bit of money for traveling each month in my savings account. And then I have a little bit of savings for things like emergencies. And, you know, if I were to lose my job, could I afford 6 months just living off my savings? Yes. Any extra money that I make right now, I just want to invest it. So I do have a Roth IRA and I do have a brokerage account. If you look at my bank account, it's pretty boring. I spend money at the grocery store, at the gas station, for my bills, and money going into investing. That's basically it. Every month it kind of looks the same. From age 25 to 30 have definitely been a big growing time for me in my life. Basically everything I've learned about finances has been from watching YouTube videos. If there's one tip that I could give you is to budget your money. Budgeting means every single penny that you make, you have a place for it, where you're gonna spend it or save it or invest it or give it away, whatever you're doing with it. I put a certain amount into savings right away. That money doesn't even get like looked at or touched. I have all my bills, my rent, electricity, all of that. That gets put in first. And then I put in things like my car insurance, gas. And then next we have things like groceries, stuff like that. That's more of a necessity. I go into my miscellaneous, or I like to call it fun money category. And that's where I can spend on whatever I'd like. Budgeting doesn't restrict you. It actually gives you a grid of where your money will be going so you can succeed financially. If you're on a debt journey, let us know in the comments how much you've paid off so far and keep on going. You will get there. I know it's hard to sacrifice things sometimes, but it's worth it in the end. Don't forget to subscribe and check out this video next.